I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. So Donald Trump completely caved. Donald Trump stated that he was going to throw this big press conference next Monday at Bedminster where he was going to reveal all of the evidence that he says shows that the 2020 election was stolen. He says he's going to present a complex and detailed report. Of course, Donald Trump is a complete liar. Governor Kemp of Georgia immediately came out and said Donald Trump is lying. The election results in Georgia were accurate. It was the safest and most secure election that existed. And that's exactly what the Republican Secretary of State of Georgia said, what Donald Trump's former Attorney General said, what Donald Trump's team normal lawyers said. But Donald Trump continues to spread the big lie over and over again. And following the indictment by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, here is what Donald Trump stated. Donald Trump wrote, "A large, complex, detailed, but irrefutable report on the presidential election fraud which took place in Georgia is almost complete and will be presented by me at a major news conference at 11 a.m. on Monday of next week in Bedminster, New Jersey. Based on the results of this conclusive report, all charges should be dropped against me and others. There will be complete exoneration. They never went after those that rigged the election. They only went after those that fought to find the riggers," is what Donald Trump says. However, Donald Trump, you lost 70 federal lawsuits, including judges who you appointed. You lost at every level. We have the emails also with your co-defendant, John Eastman, where he admits they're filing and you're filing false declarations under penalty of perjury in Georgia. You hired 2 consulting firms, by the way, and you paid them each close to $1 million separately. And they said that there was no fraud capable of overturning the election. In fact, even when a fraud took place with the so-called cyber ninjas in Arizona, they actually found that there were more votes for President Biden. And every one of your fraudulent conspiracy theories have been debunked and been shown how deranged it is. So that's what Donald Trump said earlier in the week. But now here's what he posts. He goes, rather than releasing the report on the rigged and stolen election, he just posted this on Thursday, rather than releasing the report on the rigged and stolen Georgia 2020 presidential election on Monday, my lawyers would prefer putting this, I believe, irrefutable and overwhelming evidence of election fraud and irregularities in formal legal filings as we fight to dismiss this disgraceful indictment by a publicity and campaign finance seeking DA who sadly presides over record-breaking murder and violent crime area, Atlanta. Therefore, the news conference is no longer necessary. So Donald Trump caved because he's a liar. He's not only is he a liar, but his lawyers knew, and any lawyer would know who's worth half whatever, would know that if you now spread more election lies and you submitted a fraudulent report, you would be charged with an additional count of obstruction of justice. You would be committing more crimes. By the way, I believe that these posts in and of itself are more forms of obstruction of justice. Let me just show you this. Donald Trump's former White House lawyer said the following. Let me repeat that. This isn't a Democrat who I'm about to show you in a video. Not only is this a Republican, this is the Republican who was the top White House lawyer. His name is Ty Cobb, Trump's former top White House lawyer. And Ty Cobb says that this report that Donald Trump talked about, that he says he was going to do at Bedminster, would not only be evidence against him, but can be used as a future crime of obstruction of justice. Play Donald Trump's former top White House lawyer, Ty Cobb, shortly after Donald Trump made that first statement. Play this clip.
Going to be giving a, quote, major news conference, his words. He says he will present a large, complex, detailed, but irrefutable report on the presidential election fraud which took place in Georgia. Of course, Ty, there was no fraud in Georgia. Right? Brian Kemp is as conservative as a Republican comes, and he has been very loud and clear that there's no fraud in Georgia. Audit. It's ridiculous to even go through it. But yet this is what the former president is going to do next week and to try to flood the airwaves with. What is he doing with that?
Yeah, this is all Trump, PR. This is, generating chaos. I mean, frankly, there's a good chance that whatever document he produces ends up as evidence against him. It could even end up as the basis for an obstruction count against the author, because it's likely to be fiction and solely for the purpose of contaminating the jury pool. The reality is, Brian Kemp and Brad Raffensperger each deserve, a pat on the back for the courage that they've shown, putting, country before party. And I think, the absence of evidence of fraud is patently obvious to anybody who's followed the Georgia events, and certainly anybody who reads this indictment will be able to see how fraudulently those claims were made.
So then after Ty Cobb gave that interview, we then reported here on the MeidasTouch Network, and this also came from an ABC exclusive as well, that Donald Trump's legal advisors were advising him to cancel the press conference where he says he's going to refute the Georgia allegations. Trump had announced they plan to release info on alleged election interference. Trump's lawyers were saying, you're going to get charged again for this. You don't have any conclusive proof. You don't have any proof at all. That's why you lost 70 cases before, and your deranged conspiracy theories would be used as further evidence of your intent, as further evidence of the crimes that you were committed. So that's why Donald Trump then sent the post on Thursday saying that he's not going to release it. It's not necessary anymore. There's no big press conference. Like, Donald Trump lies about every single thing. Look, this was the lie that he told right before the post now saying he was going to cancel this press conference. This is what he posted on his social media platform. He goes, just posted it on Thursday. He goes, so now that I have full subpoena power because of the freedom of speech sham indictment by crooked Joe Biden, deranged Jack Smith, and the DOJ, it has just been reported that the unselect January 6th Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs has illegally destroyed their records and documents. So the claim is that the January 6th Committee destroyed their documents, right? Not only is this a lie, it is a dumb lie. And I guess the MAGA supporters are like, okay, just lie to me. Just give me the dumbest crap imaginable. Because as Liz Cheney, a Republican, someone who's actually a conservative, what she posted shortly after Donald Trump's post is, no surprise Trump doesn't want you to see the January 6th committee evidence. Here's the GPO website with transcripts, documents, exhibits, and our meticulously sourced 800-page final report. Also links to our hearings. Might be a good time to watch those again. All of this stuff is archived online. And it was the MAGA Republicans, when they took over the House of Representatives, that wanted to shut down and did shut down the January 6th committee. And they took off the website publicly. So the January 6th committee archived it right there at govinfo.gov at the link that Liz Cheney provided. Also, if you go look at a recent filing by special counsel Jack Smith, what he said was, the government was ready to turn over documents while Trump was objecting to the protective order that the government had proposed. And if you look at the documents that the government was trying to turn over 2 weeks ago, what was included right here? This is a filing in court. This is evidence. These are the facts. Grand jury transcripts and associated exhibits are the date of the indictment. Witness interview recordings, transcripts, and reports, including agent notes along with records during the interviews. The vast majority of materials obtained through search warrants, and unredacted materials obtained from other governmental entities, including the House Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol and the United States Secret Service. It says it right here that special counsel Jack Smith wanted to, is trying to, and by now, because a protective order was entered on August 11th, has turned over these documents. At the same time, Donald Trump is claiming that all of this stuff is destroyed. His lawyers are filing another motion in court, an opposition rather, saying that they want to have trial in April of 2026 because they say there's so much documents that special counsel Jack Smith turned over. There's too much documents. The argument that Trump's lawyers make in their motion is that if you stack up all of the electronic documents, including the January 6th committee records that have been turned over by special counsel Jack Smith, it would be taller than the Statue of Liberty, and that is why The case should be delayed until April 2026. Special counsel Jack Smith requested a trial date January 2nd of 2024. A hearing, a trial setting conference will take place on August 28th. But it's constant lies, constant gaslighting, and then you see Donald Trump, when confronted with things, ultimately caves and backs down. That's how you have to deal with bullies. That's how you have to deal with Donald Trump. That's how these law and order prosecutors are dealing with Donald Trump with a great degree of success. Check out MeidasTouch.com, the new home for all things MeidasTouch. That's MeidasTouch.com. Go to Patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Have a great day. That's MeidasTouch.com.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.